It does block. It does block the. It does block the E. It does block the whirling death. Uh, no, and against the Karma, yeah, it's going to suffer just a little bit in lane, but outside of lane, it's going to be extremely useful. Paired up with the Shinzao, uh, nothing that we haven't seen here. Shinzao, very powerful jungler. Karma, an enchanter with it, just makes him that much more annoying. So I think we're off to a very, I would outside of the Draven, a very standard draft.
I think it's definitely a very standard draft. In case you're just after tuning in, DCU are just after picking some pretty comfort champs right now, with the priority for Kaizenal being the Draven locked in. So we kind of thought that QUB might have something back in response, knowing that they did ban away the Karthus and opt to leave the Draven up, which they've picked the Jinx Braum into it. I mean, could go either way, but definitely letting a snowball champ like Draven through, especially when you have a scaling Jinx, I would be worried if I was QUB, but I think they seem comfortable enough picking it into it. I'm happy enough that they've done it. The Akali gets locked in as well. Galio getting banned away against DCU. I like this. Another champion getting banned away against the sweeper is the Urgot. Now, speaking of champions that are left aren't open, Yorick is currently available. If they want to shove that Akali mid, they could probably throw a top laner at them. And one of the top laners that the sweeper has been playing is the Yorick. So if they want to do that, they can do that as well. But obviously, knowing that that's probably what Sweeper's going to pick, they might have a counter pick in mind.
Yeah, I mean, red side having a last pick is ultimately the best thing there is here. So yeah, we're just waiting on to see what's going to happen with their picks. But I like the Akali. I think it's a very nice flex. I think it's really useful there. So yeah, well, can't wait to see what's happening.
You know what shuts down a Fed Draven? A one-shotting Akali. So I kind of agree with what's going
Mm.
on here. Let's just dive on this Draven, because you know that, well, unless DC want to play a bit favorably, DC are going to put all their eggs in the Draven basket. They're going to try and get Kaizen on the snowball. Zinzao going to camp from bot pre-6, I'd imagine. So I think they expect something like that. And again, they've got so much locked-in potential. They've got Braum ulti, now Sejuani ulti. We're looking at the blue team comp over here. Freyord comp. Look at TFT going on here. Meanwhile, what do DC want to take back as their last two picks?
I mean, yeah, it's. I think you're probably. I like the Sejuani as an answer here. You definitely need a strong laner into the Akali, and that is a
The
non pick. Oh, it's a rise. Okay, so letting us know in chat that it is a rise, which means uh, we have Rise and Shen. So both very strong solo laners, especially now with the recent changes to Dusk and Dawn, effectively making Shen extremely powerful. I like the Rise as well. I think it can survive the lane against the Akali. It scales up really nicely. Can also offer a lot of damage versus these carries uh, on QB's side. So yeah, I don't hate it. And the natural Yorick here is going to get picked. So we're going for comfort here for QB. And I mean, I don't hate it. I think comfort is really important to have.
I just worry about the snowball potential on the side of QB. Sure, you can put your eggs into the split push Yarick basket. You can put split push Akali and do a 1-3-1. That's a pretty good option for the side of QB. But one of the main factors that can really shut them down here is having a Draven fed. And you know what helps a Draven get fed? Is his Shen ulti to keep him alive when he gets dove. I think that was in response to
Mm.
what QB of drafting, in case they're looking to just dive Draven all the time with the Sejuani ulti and the Akali terror diving. I think they said, look, we need some extra potential here, so they lock in the Shen, which I like. Rise also pretty good at roaming, can come bot lane quite easily as well, also can help this Draven. So I think they're very mobile, and that's something that QB really needs to be aware of, is trying to dive and take out this Draven might be a bit more difficult thanks to the comp that they've drafted. But I really like what both teams are doing here. I think potentially little low damage output for the side of QB. They're quite reliant on Jinx and Akali. Well, Akali can do
Mm.
bits regardless, but I think Jinx is going to be the big factor in this game. I think if Jinx doesn't get ahead, it might be
Yeah.
quite rough for QB. But overall, I'm looking forward to what's happening here. But I think as we're just getting ready to get into our first game of the semi-finals, please lads, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly. Are on the rift for our first game of ICS Nationals between QUB and DCU. Deadly Ghost, how are you doing, man, in this pretty hype game with a pretty hype comp?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying myself, looking forward to seeing these two teams fight and duking it out. Especially now in the bot lane, we see both bot lanes actually uh, having a go at each other, doing a little bit of damage even before the minions are coming to lane. And it's going to be interesting to see the pathing of these junglers. Both of them are pathing from their top side towards their bot side, which means it is going to be a heavy bot lane focus.
Definitely think bot's going to be the real priority late this game. I think Shed's going to have a big impact potentially. Because if Shen starts doing a lot of things at level 6, he can definitely protect the Draven from any dives, or even help with any snowball potential Draven may have as well if they want to go for a tower dive. So I definitely think, although Draven's going to be the big carry here, there is a bit of effort to come out here from Ryze and Shen as well. So we'll have to see what
Yeah,
happens, but a lot of poke damage coming out here from Kaizenal onto the Jinx, so it's already pretty pokey back and forward here.
yeah. The karma just offering a little bit of extra poke. It just means that this bot lane for DCU side are just going to get quite a lot of early pressure, but nothing too big because QUB's bot lane are right behind them. Now, if I am Joefish here, well, Joefish looks like he's going for a gank.
They're looking to do something here. They're looking for a bit of engage and do force the Night Out, do get the flash and the Ghost as well from Faker's Dingaling. Great name, by the way. Meanwhile, Kaizen
Yeah,
and Ucht just pushing in this bot lane.
yeah. They are pushing out this bot lane, looking to pressure out Totsi and Crimson Chaos here, but it's not working too well for them, uh, because this Jinx is equal on farm, which is not something you want out of a heavy pressure lane. You want to be denying this Jinx as much farm as possible. You want to be forcing these summoner spells early, and it's sort of not happening here in this early stage for this bot lane of DCU.
All steady so far, though. Nothing too crazy happening. A couple of summoners blown, but no one's died just yet, so we're still waiting on that first blood. And obviously, Draven being Draven, if Draven starts hitting those Qs, he starts building up his adoration stacks, then he starts getting extra gold when he starts killing the enemy. So it's kind of just that double snowball effect there from Draven, which I think is really
Yeah.
important. Meanwhile, the Sweeper starting a bit of an aggressive play here onto the Shen. A lot of damage coming through. Sweeper going in. Both flashes are available, but it doesn't look like Sweeper fancies his chances as the wave is just coming into him.
I think there's always that looming danger of the Shen W coming up, and if the sweeper tries to like flash Q and the Shen just W's and negates the damage, it would be really bad. But I am concerned for this Rise because both summoners had to be blown there in that early Sejuani gank, so we might be seeing some repeat ganking coming in here. Both of the junglers finished up their clears. They this Sejuani even had time to go back in base. Did get double crapped for that, but Ekozi is yet to back. Meanwhile, Joefish has started his second clear already. So that means that this Sejuani, even though behind in farm, is ahead in combat power with that extra 300 HP, and it's almost looking like through Joefish is on the Raptors right now, so he's probably going to maybe look around towards this mid lane.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, a fight's breaking out here between the Shen and the Yorick. Yorick was going a bit far behind there, but now Shen's in the back foot. Meanwhile, gank coming in from Joe Fish. Can they get the rise? Flash forward from Jojo GA. Here's Ekozi. Flash again from Ekozi. Maybe trying to clean this up and pick himself up a kill onto Jojo GA. The W comes through. Can he get a kill? Nice stun coming out there from Joe Fish. Doesn't have the 6 just yet, but no flash neither. Oh my god, QUB win the fight! What an incredible play and what synergy from the double Joes!
Oh my god, that was an incredible. The Q flash missed from the Sejuani, but it doesn't even matter because this Rise has been left summonerless. And then the counter gank from Ekozi is just ineffective because he tried to get in, he tried to make the flashy play there onto Joji, but Joji still had the E there. Or it came up after using it the first time, but also really good use of aggro from the side of from the side here of QUB. having the Sejuani tank that turret shot, and then Joji and Joefish taking a kill apiece here as 6-5, I translated the name by the way, is getting bullied by these. Ooh, and gets solo killed by the
Solo
sweeper.
bolo
So, yeah.
by Sweeper. That was crazy stuff.
I mean, I'm a firm believer of comfort over meta picks, because if you're comfortable on a champion, you can actually do well, which is what we're seeing here.
Yeah, just incredible plays all around. What I did notice as well is as soon as Shen came to lane, he immediately got taken down to a quarter HP from Yorick. Like, Yorick's damage is nothing to scoff at when he hits that sheen.
It's really good here. I almost wish Sweeper went for something like DFT or the Comet, because you can still bully the Shen quite a lot with that poke here. Does go back, gets the Sheen and the Omnivamp boots, which is one of the new changes coming into the new season. So Yorick already has a little bit of sustain there, but with those Omnivamp boots, it's going to be really good. And now we have Faker's Dingling getting ganked again. The Sejuani ult followed by the Akali ult. The Shen can do nothing to save his mid laner there, and that's another kill coming QUB's way.
Joe squared. Absolute mad lads. I'm just going to say, absolute synergy. 2 minds, 1 brain cell. Absolutely incredible stuff coming out from the Joe Squared there. So I fancy everything they're doing right now. Jojo GA currently 2-0 right now against this Ryze. Ryze trying to ulti away, but just couldn't, or trying to get an angle to get out. He just couldn't do it. The double Joe just knew, they predicted it, and they just had a crazy amount of damage. Perfect execution just does so much when you pop it off with an ignite. And I think right there really just shows 4-0 QUB firmly in the driver's seat so far.
Yeah, 100%. They already have a 2,000 gold lead coming in here. Now, to DCU's credit, they managed to come around, take the first Drake of the game, and which is really good when you're behind. And this bot lane has actually started to poke out Totsi and Crimson Chaos, and they are about 25 CS behind, but it is evened out by this Yorick being so far ahead of the Shen. And with this Akali getting 2 early kills over this Ryze, means that this Ryze's power spike is just getting more and more delayed, and Akali is getting snowball early quite a lot, and a fed Akali, especially in the mid game, can do a lot of damage, especially to a squishy carry like a Draven.
Definitely think Draven's a bit ahead in the CS department, but it doesn't matter because QUB have such an advantageous position right now. Like, the Sweeper's just bullying out Shen mid lane. It's going to be pretty rough for the Ryze as it goes later on, because Akali in the mid lane is going to do some insane damage numbers, especially with Joe Fish just dropping ultis left, right, and center. So I'm interested to see how this snowballs towards the mid game. But right now, First Dragon is on the side of DCU, so QUB looking to get themselves a Drake and get themselves on the board here. Overall, though, I'm really enjoying what they're doing so far. Now, I agree, Totsi's a bit behind here. He's maybe nearly 50 CS down. But again, he slowly scales up. Do I think maybe he could have played something a bit more utility-based like the Ashe? Sure. But if you're playing in a fearless draft, you got to pick something, either your best champ first or just a champ you want off the board first. Because if Kaizenal picks the Jinx later on, you might not want that. Or maybe if you hold on and you just wait for a bit longer, you can get yourself your Enchanter later on and you can get your Snowbally champ. But right now, Jinx trying to be a bit behind, but he's trying to stay alive as Brown gets taken out. There goes 2 kills. There's the double for Kaizenal. Starting off the snowball. Jojo GA now fishing for the kill onto Kaizenal, but Zinzao dropping the ulti to try and stop him. Joe Fish though from behind. Joe Fish from the top rope to take out Kaizenal. Meanwhile, QUB trying to take something off here. Jojo GA is just a bit too low, but Ux doesn't have much HP neither. And meanwhile on the top lane, the Sweeper just disrespected. He's just letting him know. But yeah, you do see 2 kills go over to Kaizenal, but QUB do get that kill back in response. And that's why, as I said, Jinx might not be so far ahead, which is why I think something like utility-based AD carry might be just a bit better here. But as long as they're not hemorrhaging kills over to Kaizenal, as long as only CS is what Kaizenal's picking up, there's still a hope, because all other lanes seem to be doing pretty well so far for QUB.
Yeah, the double kill coming in there was really important. If you take a look, it actually nullified the gold lead because of those adoration stacks. However, the Sejuani has managed to get the kill there and to shut down Kaizenal. So Kaizenal did not get to escape with his life, and Ocht nearly got taken down in the process as well. Took 2 turret shots himself, so was really lucky to escape with his life there. And I feel like the response from Joji and Joefish was a little bit slow. I think if they had gotten there a few seconds early, maybe they would have been able even to turn it around and make it into a winning play. Still, they got themselves some they got themselves some silver scrapes from it. So, you know, all's well that ends well, I guess. But yeah, this Draven with 2 kills and a completed Hex Optics already is off to the races.
Akali did get spotted there heading towards the bot side, so DCU gonna spot that Akali, which was nicely done. Ryze was also on the run with ulti, so he could have actually reached bot lane just a bit quicker. But yeah, really well played there. I think QUB trying to defend this Jinx. I think they know now they picked the Jinx, they're kind of reliant on making sure he doesn't go too far behind, or they're playing a 4v5. But speaking of playing a 1v1, look at what this Yorick's doing, taking the first turret, dropping the Maiden down, and you just see Shen just running with the tail between the legs. And even with the steel caps, that's not going to stop it. Braum ulti does not connect, but it does not matter. Here is the Zins out. Here's Ryze. They're trying to push, trying to get something, trying to force it, but Sweeper's here as well. Maybe a bit bold from QUB, but they didn't really know whether or not DC were going to commit fully to this or not. But that's going to be a TP used by the Sweeper, which is actually pretty big as well, because that means Shen's got TP advantage.
Yeah, Shen does have TP advantage, but you leave Yorick in a lane alone, and he's just going to take an inhibitor in 35 seconds or so, which means we are really up the races, and we seem like we're getting ready for a fight over this Drake.
Shen's TPing in right now. DCU looking to do something. QUB have actually backed off the dragon. They're going to give 7nd Drake over to the side of DCU. And yeah, there you go. Zinzao going to pick himself up a 2nd Drake with a leash from QUB. Not ideal for them, but I think they just don't want to give away the shutdown on Sejuani and Akali over, because if they give both of those to Draven with his adoration stacks, that's only going to push him further and further ahead, and you don't want a 3-item Draven at 12 minutes.
Yeah, both Joji and Joefish were kind of chunked out. The Jinx will also had to go to base. It got poked out, so I think that was a smart play. You know, not give those 2 shutdowns, not give them a way a way to sort of get the gold lead back in their favor. Yes, 2 Jakes have been stacked up, but until you get the soul, it's not too much to worry about. What is worrying is that this CS deficit is becoming bigger and bigger for this bot lane, and I think Joefish and Joji might have to come together and try and get a gank going in this bot lane, because Toadsie and Crimson Chaos are in dire straits right now.
Problem when you give a Draven OTP, well, a Draven main, that's what happens when you give a Draven main as main champion. Now, again, as I said this, QUB knew what to expect. They banned the Karthus, so they did look at his OP.GG, see the 100 games on Draven, and say, we're okay with this. Again, as I said previously, did they know when he was going to pick it? Yes, he was B1, and maybe something like utility-based ED carry to just play weak side Williams, Brand, response. But if the game goes late enough and Draven doesn't scale enough, Jinx definitely outscales later on. Jinx does insane things later on, so it's just a matter of getting to the 4 or 5 items if they want Jinx to be that late game assurance. As well as that, I just think Jinx can slowly snowball. All it takes is 1 kill, I get excited, and a couple of autos, and a couple of Q enhanced autos, and you've got yourself a Jinx with a couple of kills and back in the game. So he's not out of it just yet, but it's definitely in the favor of DCU towards his bot side. Meanwhile, Jojo GA gets spotted, looking for a kill with the perfect execution. Doesn't have anything just yet, looking to go in. Draven ulti gets used. Jojo GA trying to get out. Braum ulti does not connect. Jinx rocket does not connect. And that is a lot of ultis dropped for the sake of no kills, unfortunately.
Yeah, 4 ults dropped on the side of QUB. 2 ults getting used from the side of DC and DCU. The Ryze teleport coming in. Sorry, the Ryze Realm Warp coming in to dissuade the play, because if he hadn't come in, for sure Ocht or Kaizenel would have died. Now, a turret in the bot lane being taken by this Draven just means Kaizenel is getting through, but Faker's Dingling is getting ganked.
And here's Shen ulti to try and keep this Ryze alive just a bit longer. Really well played there from DCU, although I also don't think QUB have necessarily the damage to take him out yet without their mid laner. I think it's going to be really difficult as the game goes on and on. I think QUB needs to start taking out this Draven, need to really focus him. And I think the thing is, there's a lot of good peel potential for the side of DCU as well. You've obviously got Shen Taunt, you got Shen shield with the ulti. You've got Ryze going in as well, where he can drop some stuns. It's going to be quite hard. I think DCU know that's what their game plan is. It's just try and get Draven to stay alive as long as possible and just let him one-shot the rest of QUB.
Yeah, and on the other end, you have this Shen who is who basically has completed a steel caps and a giant's belt. That's all that he has, and the sweeper is just utilizing this Draven to its full potential. You know, almost soloing the Herald, bullying this Shen as much as possible out of lane. And I'm sorry to say, but these Shen ults have not been as effective as possible, as we do see the bot lanes brawling here in mid.
Took a lot of harass there. Look at Jinx's HP bar. Crimson Chaos also took a lot of harass. Ultis are starting to come up as well. Joe Fish nearly has the Glacial Prison available. Crimson Chaos nearly has the Glacial Fissure available. So there's definitely something that can happen here in the next second or so, as Dragon going to be up in a minute, and it's going to be the Hextech Drake.
Yeah, Hextech Soul and Hextech Gates coming in here just means that if you survive a trade, you're that much faster out on the map here. And for Tootsie and for Crimson Chaos, this means quite a lot because they were getting poked out of lane quite a bit. So these Hex Gates mean that they can, if they take an unfavorable trade in the 2v2 like they just did in mid lane, they can just back up, regen up, take a portal back to the lane, and not lose as much as they could have had it not been the Hex Drake Rift coming in here. But the sweeper here is just bullying 6-5 here, just making his life a living hell.
Yeah, I think the sweeper all game really has just been dropping a lot of damage on him. And you're talking about a CS lead in the bot lane, but look at the CS lead top right now. He's just about to be 50 CS up on this Shen. Rift Herald taking the tier 2 turret, and no one's actually directing any resources into this guy. Look at him. The sweeper's actually pushing in for the inhibitor turret right now, and no one is stopping him.
Yeah, he's pushing into the inhibitor turret. The rest of his team is pushing into the mid lane. They're not even going to contest this Drake. They know that they're not as strong in the 44. Oh, the sweeper might just die.
What is the sweeper doing?
He lives with a sliver of HP, but oh.
Oh my god, the sweeper got the kill?
He got the kill. The maiden got the kill.
That is actually insane.
And now the rest of his team is just, the rest of QUB just walked over to protect his top laner from any ganks, and the maiden just takes the inhibitor turret, and now we have an open inhibitor. 18 minutes into the game. This is incredible. This is incredible gaming from the sweeper. He has just taken over on the map, and he's now going to do the same thing but in bot lane. And unless DCU throw like 4 or 5 people, it's not going to end up good for the side of DCU, as we do get the Shen coming in here, but I don't think this Shen can really do much against him.
They're looking to take this angle here, and you do see Jojo GA potentially looking for something with the perfect execution, but unfortunately they don't manage to get anything here. But they can't just stick around and take this tier 2 turret bot if they want to. It's just, what do DCU get in response to this? They need to look top and they need to look mid. But looking mid lane right now, they're looking for a fight. They're looking for engage onto Tootsie. Nice ulti drop for the Xin Zhao. Flash used as well. Tootsie trying to get away. He's no summoners available. Jinx is gone down, but down goes a turret in response actually. Meanwhile though, Echo Frets and the boys trying to take out Joe Fish. Joe Fish gets taken out. What will DCU do now? They've just taken out 2 members of QUB for nothing really. Meanwhile, Sweeper, like, okay, you take 2 kills, I get a turret back in response. Sweeper needs to be constantly taking objectives and pushing these turrets in. And what can you see? Just the Sweeper split pushing, putting the team on his back and saying, I am doing this for the squad.
Yeah, good channel to follow up with Ekozi there, to just have so much presence of mind, and the sweeper is now getting ganked here.
Is he ganking him, or is the sweeper ganking those 2 members? Because I just saw 2 members of DCU retreating there.
Yeah, fair point. Both Ekozi and 6-5 are being bullied by this Yorick, who is just so damn strong. And oh no.
Sweeper looking for something onto Ekozi here. Sweeper going in. He's dropping the ball down on him. He's trying to take him out. Doesn't have the ulti available. Nice knock go back. But can he stop the sweeping? Look at the sweeper right now. Just destroying the Xin Zhao. Look how strong this Yorick is. Got a Triforce. Got a Spear of Shojin. And this is just such a strong champ right now.
I love this. I love seeing this happen. You know, I've been on this end of a Yorick myself, and I know how bad it hurts. But like just seeing it in action here is just so incredible. Totsi got caught out. He was good good combination from DCU. They saw that the Jinx was pushed in quite a lot without the proper support. They went in. They protected the tier one. Uh, well, it did fall down later on, but yeah, they got the kill on the Jinx. They got the shutdown on the Sejuani, and they got a few kills into the Rise and the Shinzao. Now the big problem is any 5v5 that happens is going to be a massive problem because this Yorick has also now completed a Spear of Shojin and the Serpent's Fang along with his Trinity Force, so he is going to be taking down any shields that the Karma offers and is also going to deal quite a lot of damage and heal himself up with those Omnivamp boots.
Absolutely insane stuff here from the sweeper, and I genuinely think if you're talking MVP performances for the last 15 minutes of a game, you got to look at the sweeper right now. Absolutely putting the team on their back. That's dedication to the cause right now. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything. I just want to farm and I just want to take turrets. That's some dedication right there to the cause.
Yeah, 100%. I think the smart decision here for QB would be to try and not engage up until this last Drake is coming in, because it would be so for DCU and they cannot let that happen. But actually allow the sweeper to create pressure around the map, and then when it comes Drake time, just push out the waves, have some pressure created, and then just use a man advantage to take on the soul. Meanwhile, the sweeper is just going to look at 6-5 here, almost takes him down. The Shen ult has to be used just to get away from the menace that is this Yorick.
And you see already, Shen forced to recall with like this fourth of his HP there, gonna get away, but he's not actually around as Baron gets started by the side of DCU. TP is available for Shen, so they do want to go for something here. But as we can see, their members of QUB are actually in the bot side right now. Sweeper does get found out, and actually does look like the shutdown might be going over as 3 members of DCU go on, but what a kill! Oh my god, Sweeper! Destroying the Draven, and now you find out who's stronger, the strong member of DCU or the strong member of QUB. And it looks like the strong member of QUB wins in a 1v3. Oh my god, but they're not done just yet. Nice Braum ulti, nice maneuvers getting used there. Look at Jojo GA trying to stop something, trying to perfect execution in. Braum gets taken out though, other members trying to stay alive. Nice done play here, and actually what looked like a really nice start from QUB has actually turned into a pretty good fight for DCU right now. You can use Jojo GA trying to take that Hex Gate out of there, same with the Sejuani, but it's actually 3 people who die there for QUB, which is not ideal.
Why are we diving the 2 tankiest members under the turret? QUB, you had it all figured out. You should have just taken the turret, which was already chunked out quite a bit, and just gone for the kills then. The Rise ult had separated the 2 of them. Oh, Joe Fish goes in way too early. That is so bad. That's a free Baron here from the side of DCU. And QUB, all they had to do was be patient. That was a mistake from the sweeper, but it was still a 4v4 when there was no AD carry on one side. So all the QUB had to do was just be patient, but they were not. They were not patient. They get the Drake, which means that they stop the soul, but they overforce on the play here. And I feel like they have to slow the game down. They have to let the sweeper create pressure as this fed Yorick, because otherwise they're just going to get rolled in the 4v4.
They pick up a dragon, but lose Baron and lose the fight. So it's probably not really a worthwhile trade there for QUB. I do like the effort from them. I think there's a glimmer of hope here for QUB, but DCU have actually shown they're in a pretty good spot themselves. This gold lead is basically nothing. Meanwhile, Shen going to fight again with the sweeper, and I look at the damage output already. Yorick's not even near Shen and is already putting a bit of damage into him, so it's going to be a really tough fight for this Shen, I think, so far. Sweeper is also 2 levels up, and currently by 2 levels, the highest level player in the game, about to hit 18 at some point in the next minute.
Yeah, quite so. So this lead for him is just going to be extending. I think we can just take a look at the gold difference, and it's almost a 6,000 gold lead for the sweeper alone. Meanwhile, on the other end, in the bot lane, it's a 2.3k gold lead for this Draven, so less than half of the sweeper's gold lead. So definitely this Shen has been put down much more than Jinx, but because he is Shen, his ult will always be useful.
That's where I think picking something like an Ashe or a Sivir for the side of QUB was probably pretty vital to do. I know they kind of knew they were going to play something into the Draven, but I again think something just a bit more utility based maybe would just benefit them just slightly more. Because Drinks Rocket's great, but if you had an Ashe Arrow here, I think you'd be in a much more advantageous position.
I think this is smart from DCU, putting in the Ryze into the Yorick, because Ryze can just clear out the wave much better, and because the Ryze actually got to recover quite nicely, does even have a decent CS lead over this Akali, has managed to, you know, just scale up, get the full Rod now, has a full Archangels as well, and can actually survive this Yorick and even wave clear very nicely into him. But the big problem is still the Shen is really weak in the side lane, so this Akali can just bully him out like we saw there. And even, yeah, look at the sweeper. Oh, Jojier is getting ganked here.
GA trying to get away here. Echo Z and Figures Dingling gonna drop a nice bit of damage down, and it's just an unfortunate situation that your mid laner is in right there. Kali is doing okay, but again, you see 3 items currently on the Xin Zhao, and it's quite tough for QUB. Anyone who's not named the sweeper needs to sit under turret for the next couple of minutes and get a little bit more farm, and I think is the kind of the outcome here. Looking at the CS department, you brought it up already, but as you can see, jungle up CS, mid up CS, 80 carry up CS. The only one who isn't ahead on the side of DCU is actually the Shen, as you were saying, but everyone else is a firm CS lead.
Yeah, 100%, and the big problem is there that this Akali went down so close to Dragon, but because it is the Hex Rift, Jojier is going to be up relatively quickly, but it still gives DCU time to prep for this Drake, and if the soul goes through to them, I think it's safe to say that the game is going to be handedly in their hands.
I wouldn't say that necessarily, considering how strong the sweeper is. I think the sweeper definitely has split lane potential. I think there's definitely a lot they can do. It does favor DCU a bit more, but I still wouldn't put QUB out of the race just yet. They were looking for a brush gank there. Braum gets found. They know they're doing the dragon. 4k on the dragon. Crimson Chaos, they now see how far it is. Shen's not in the fight just yet. Keep an eye on that Shen. Nice Braum ulti gets used, and they get the dragon! QUB managed to pick something out there, but look at Akozy now, fighting Joe Fish. No one from the side of QUB is there to defend their jungler, so Joe Fish goes over. Akozy picks up a kill. That is going to be one. They're looking to pursue a couple more, but overall, picking up 1 kill for a dragon, not a bad trade for QUB. And keep an eye on the Maiden. The Maiden's also pushing in bot right now on that inhibitor turret.
Oh my god, Joefish and Crimson Chaos just do their job incredibly by they go and they steal the Drake from under Akozy's nose and they prevent the soul, and that is just incredible here to see, as Kaizenal does get Shen ulted, so we might see again coming.
They're looking for a nice taunt coming through there onto Totsi. Totsi just completed the 3rd item, but yeah, it's just unfortunate right now. Draven's just so strong right now. Look at the items. He's got 3.5 items completed, looking for a 4th. And with the adoration stacks, that's definitely going to go a long way for picking up an item. 1,500 gold in the bank, that's definitely going to help some Draven stocks. And yeah, I think DCU, game plan, keep this Draven alive and keep the picks coming. Whereas I think the sweeper needs to find a way to split push, but he can't split push if his base is going down around him. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation here for QUB until this Jinx is up and they're back to 5 members. And look right now, look at Crimson Chaos, nearly getting blown up by Kaizenal.
He's ticking down, almost gets taken down, but doesn't tick down to 0. So Crimson Chaos is being saved there by the skin of his teeth and the good use of the exhaust there. But still, that's a lot of pressure that's come through. And even though the Drake was taken there from QUB, DCU have managed to turn it into a really good pressure play here as they're trying to engage on this Sejuani, but it's not happening here as Akozy gets turned on, and
What a crazy ulti. Look at the root coming through here. They're looking for the engage. They take out the Draven, which is massive for QUB. Keep an eye on the team. They're pushing forward and off. DCU engage. QUB try to find some luck. Taunt going to land here. Keep an eye on the sweeper. He's still alive. He's fighting the rest of the squad. Shen is on his own right now. Jinx is still alive. Nice front to back fighting here. Can they stop the Shen? Shen going in with the taunt. Looking for the Jinx. Doesn't find the angle. 3 members of DCU down. That's going to be a Baron for QUB and a bit more.
Yeah, Baron is up here, but the health bars are really low, so they have to be careful. This Karma can still poke, and the Cozy can still try to steal the Baron. Look at that damage! Crimson Chaos and Tootsie almost get taken down simply by an empowered Q from the Karma, and they have to back off here.
They stood in a 4-man pack on top of each other. I think that was the main issue there.
Yeah, they have to back off here, but finally we see a good fight from QUB, and this is what we were waiting for. You know, have the sweeper come in beyond the front lines, create so much pressure there, and after that failed attempt and the overforcing from DCU, QUB just turning around, they keep the Jinx alive, and the Jinx getting 2 shutdowns, one on the Draven, the other one I believe was on the Rise. Just means that she's now back in this game, and that gold deficit has now suddenly come back down quite a bit, despite Kaizenal cashing in a lot of adoration stacks.
QUB still managing to do something. I think, yeah, the key thing right there was Kaizen getting taken out. And I think that's going to be a big factor in these fights going forward. If QUB can find an early kill onto Kaizenal, that's pretty much a done deal fight for QUB.
Yeah, 100%. If Kaizenal gets caught out, if this, I think Faker's Dingling as well is really powerful at this point. So I think if you take out one of the two, then it means you're playing without one of your two key carries. But the real issue on the front line here for DCU side is this Shen, who, yes, he has the Thornmail and the Titans completed, but he's still so far behind in items. This Jinx has now completed 3 items, on the verge of completing a 4th, and I'm sorry to say, but this Shen will offer almost nothing in frontline. This Xin Zhao is going to be twice as tanky as this Shen, which means QUB have a lot more leeway for getting this Jinx a reset, and once Jinx gets excited, that gold deficit doesn't mean that much because of that steroid that she gets.
I think QUB right now need to play it a bit more safe, but yeah, I think it's in a good position for QUB, but I also think DC with the gold advantage right now, they've done a lot so far. Draven can one-shot 3 members in QUB, I'd say. Braum maybe a bit of a push here, but definitely Jinx and Akali can instantly get blown up by this Draven. But I think definitely they all need to be careful, and I think Tootsie needs to farm up that gold, just firmly get himself up to that 100% crit and just get out of there as quick as he can, because it's quite difficult right now as we see QUB are positioning up for something here. Shen does have the ulti available, doesn't have the TP, so we can find themselves in a fight starting soon. Echozy actually does have the GA completed as well, which I do like, just to keep him alive just a little bit longer as these extended fights go on. Hextech Dragon up again. DCU now looking for the soul, but can QUB do something about it? As usually Zinzao commits. Nice Braum passive, stun goes through. Jinx dropping the chompers, not going to get the root, but it doesn't matter. Echozy walking away here, and just a nice bit of damage coming out. Shen's finally into the fight, now going to be a 5v5, and I think right now QUB need to play it safe. Where's the sweeper? He's not far enough forward. And I think the sweeper should be bought with that wave, but it's alright. We're going to look for the fight. We're going to take this on. Shen goes in. The knock on the explosive plant. Knocking Joe Fish into the members, but Braum Glacier Fisher to keep him alive. Crimson Chaos gets absolutely exploded by Echozy. Jinx is still alive. Jojo GA goes golden. Where is the sweeper? He's taken out 1. Jinx takes out the Shen. Can another go down here? Look at, keep an eye on Kaizenal. Kaizenal is still in the backline, still putting out damage, but down goes your jungler. You now have no way to take Drake. Kaizenal now just going a bit far forward, way too greedy with that flash, and does get taken out. Pain for the sins. Triple kill for Tootsie. I dissed it earlier on, but the Jinx did something this fight, and that is going to be a dragon going over for QUB. Oh, forced to walk away. Minions pushing in mid and bot right now, and big death timers. They could end it here in theory.
And Tootsie really, I think Tootsie was the hero of this fight. Weaving in and out of this fight, you know, knowing the limits, does get taken down by Kaizenal in the end, but Kaizenal has to use so much there. And yeah, Tootsie just became a mad lad here. We saw Joe Gia tried to go in on this backline, but had to use that stopwatch immediately, and didn't really get to do much outside of that. But we don't have time to analyze it too much because this Baron is going to be taken in. In the end, it was a 4 for 3 for QUB. They managed to stop the Soul, and they are on Soul Point now themselves. So this next Drake is going to have insane value for everyone. And yeah, the Sweeper and Toadsie, just incredible team fighting here. And Joefish, even after being put into 4 people, just manages to survive that fight to the end. And we're at an even game state, but now it's QUB's turn with the Baron.
I don't think Baron was the play there. I genuinely think you had Joefish Sweeper. Sweeper had the Maiden, I think he had the ulti in, and they could have definitely ended with 30-second death timers. But let's see if that pays off as another fight breaks out. Nice engage by the Rise. Toadsie now going to be the first to go down. And a fight that went just for QUB is now a DCU engage. Akali's actually recalling to try and start something. Joefish goes down. That is 2 members of QUB right out of the fight. And DCU now back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to take out 2 Barons out, and it's really important here for them, because that's also 2 people off the map, and now they're getting to push against a team with the Baron here. But the AD carry and the jungler being out means most of the front line is gone, and your backline damage is gone as well, because the Sakali is not doing any damage with only a Shadow Flame and a Gunblade this late into the game. It's really only the Sweeper that's doing a lot of damage, but he has to be on the side lanes here. He cannot be, you know, grouped up with his team, also having to create some sideline pressure. But you know who can create pressure? The Maiden, as the Maiden just took out the inhibitor turret in bot lane. That is just some incredible presence of mind from the Sweeper to send out the Maiden while he is defending here with his team. Just immaculate gameplay, and the Sweeper is keeping his team in this game.
Now, maybe I was being overzealous here, but I 100% think QEB could have ended before that Baron fight. There was 35-second death timers on all the members. It was just Karma alive, and they had Maiden up. They could have easily, with the wave like where it is right now, I definitely think QEB could have just ended the game 5 minutes ago. 100% think they could have ended it.
Yeah, I think
that was a really big misplay from them to go for Baron. They were over ending the game.
I think it was definitely going to be 2 inhibitors, but they probably wanted to go for the safer play, which was the Baron here. But yeah, I think it's...
I think it was just over 30 seconds death timers and just Karma alive. Sweeper was way too strong not to just destroy it to end the game there. But now, obviously, I think Baron's paying off now, but I just think for the safer bet there would probably just be go for the end. And I think they had just the turret push to do it. But yeah, they do still have Baron. It's still with the team right now. And I mean, level 20, the Sweeper, I would be very fearful if I was any member of DC right now.
Yeah, I think we're coming into the phase of the game where one bad team fight means game over for either team, because we're nearing 40 minutes here. The deck timers are going to be 45-50 seconds maybe, so it's going to be really dangerous for any of these teams if they take a bad fight or have someone blown up in a team fight here, as the Maiden is now just bullying the Shen, and we have a 5v4 elsewhere on the map. Just look at how much damage this Maiden is doing. This Shen is just struggling to even take down the Maiden without being properly chunked here. There are pings going around onto this Jinx here. We might see a fight brewing as Soul is coming up in 20 seconds.
Shen doesn't have TP, but does have ulti available if need be. Soul is up in 10 seconds for both of these teams, and Ikuzi might have just bitten off more than he can chew. Doesn't get punished for it. Root coming through here as well. Sweeper forced to flash. Sweeper's down to half HP. Keep an eye on him. He's getting taken out, and DCU might just win a fight right now, but Karma gets taken out. Other members looking to do something here. Joefish running away. Where is your Jinx? There's no backline damage coming through, and Toadsie right now is getting punished. Flash gets used, goes golden, Crimson Chaos next to fall. Jinx coming out of the golden, doesn't do anything, and the GA does nothing to keep this Jinx alive, and that is definitely going to be the game for DCU right now.
Yeah, I mean, both of the carries are alive. This Ryze is alive. This Xin Zhao is also alive, and they're looking to charge down mid lane and end the game here. 25 seconds here. I think this is it. I think game one has gone into DCU's hands. That was such aggressive pathing there from the sweeper without having the proper vision, and yeah, DCU are going to take game one. QUB tried to call their bluff with the Draven, but in the end it was too powerful of a pick there. And yeah, after a 40-minute banger, DCU take down QUB in game one of the series. But what a start to the series!
Yeah, what a start coming out from DCU. They both came out swinging. I think QUB had some pretty firm action from the start there, but DCU just absolutely slaying with that Draven. I think top lane as well, the sweeper was doing everything that he could. There was a lot coming out from jungle pressure. The double Joes were doing a lot early game as well as Draven getting the kill bot. But overall, yeah, I think really well played from both these teams. I think QUB played as well as they could, but as well as that, I think they had a lot of members behind. I think if Toadsie was just slightly closer to where Kaizenal was, it might be a bit different, but I just think they weren't on the same page for the team fight. I just don't think they were as strong, and I think the way DCU played it was just a lot stronger all around. Having that snowball Draven is just so much stronger than anything else. Like, what can you do versus a 6-item Draven that deals 1.4k per auto?
Yeah, 100%. You had to have the Jinx there coming in and doing damage onto that Draven while he was focusing your Yorick, or you either had to have, if at least one reset had come in for Toadsie early on in that last team fight, then maybe they would have just turned around and that Jinx would have been able to take everyone down. But yeah, sadly, I think Joe GA had a really good start to the game, didn't manage to snowball into anything, and was sort of just, present there in team fights, and this Akali was definitely not it.
All around though, really good hustle from QUB and really well played, especially from DCU, who are our winners of game one. But we're going to throw it to a quick break as we get ready to get into our second game of the series. Don't go anywhere, lads.
Gamers get ready. Ireland's biggest gaming event returns to the RDS Dublin. Join us at Gamerfest this May 23rd and 24th for an epic weekend of gaming action. Play the latest games, step into the driver's seat with cutting-edge racing sims, build your world in Minecraft, and drop into the action with Fortnite. Connect with the Irish gaming community and share the moment with creators and special guests. Compete at the highest level by taking your shot in esports tournaments all weekend long, including the Minecraft Build Challenge. Discover unique finds in the Gamerfest marketplace, explore Artist Alley, and experience the creativity powering the community. Bring gaming to life at Gamerfest this May 23rd and 24th at the RDS Dublin. Get your tickets now at gamerfest.ie.
Welcome back, everyone, to ICS Nationals semi-final between QUB and DCU, where after an absolute 40-minute slogger, DCU were eventually taking that game. We are now getting ready for game two as we're about to head into draft. Deadly Ghost, how did you feel after that long game?
I mean, I had really, I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it quite a lot. 40-minute banger. There was a lot of action happening on both sides. Both sides had a really fed member that ended up taking over the game. Kaizenal on that signature Draven, the sweeper on his signature Yorick, just both trying their damnedest to win out the game. In the end, it was DCU's combined team fighting that won over QUB, and I mean, yeah, QUB said take the Draven. We can answer it, and turns out that the Jinx was not the greatest of answers to it. Hopefully they have something better cooked up for game two, and take us to game three. Otherwise, DCU are looking to close it out in two games.
Definitely, as we just get into draft for this first game, we see some similar bans pathing way here. We got the Smolder ban for DCU. We've got the Amu ban used for against QUB there as well. And in response, Hecarim from QUB against the DCU jungler. And Karthus banned away again. You don't really want to see Karthus bot. I do agree with that. So I'm pretty happy that it's just banned the way. The Wukong being first pick for DCU. Spinny Winnie Cyclone Man. I love this from DCU. Can do a lot of gank potential. Great in team fights. Yeah, overall, no complaints here. And it looks like someone's been listening to my broadcast because look at this. I say they need a utility 80 carry against Kaizenal, and what gets locked in? A Sivir. The exact utility 80 carry I was looking for. I approve of this wholeheartedly. Now, what do you pair with the Sivir? There's a few options you can do. You can go Enchanter, maybe even just something like a Yuumi. You could probably go Engage. Personally, an Enchanter would be fine. You just sit back and farm up in lane. So let's see what DCU or QUB opt for here.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, the Sivir, the Volibear as an answer, I actually like it's a decent answer here. You can't really go into a very AD heavy jungler here because the Wukong will always be really strong against it in a 1v1 or even in a gank opportunity. So I like the Volibear. It offers a little bit of sustainability, a little bit of tanking. It also offers a lot of dive here. And yeah, the Sivir should have been would have been my answer here against the Draven here. And we see the Kai'Sa coming in. So we're going sort of for like a dive comp and the Scion getting locked. So DCU know that their top lane is going to be in a difficult matchup, so they opt for the Scion here. You know, something safe, something that can farm and just be a mega tank in the late game. But yeah, quite a lot of dive potential here for DCU side early on.
I do like the Kai'Sa as well, because even though they've taken Kai'Sa off the Draven, he's still on a hyperscaling champ. He's still got the Kai'Sa who can just dominate games. Now, does he need a bit more frontline potential from the support? Maybe, but he does have the Wukong to help, and he does have the Scion to help. But I don't think he's got as much heal potential as he did last game. So I think Kai'Sa does have the ulti for self-peel, but does need to be a bit more cautious against this comp that QVB have drafted. And they've drafted the Zahin. I like Zahin. He does a lot. Pretty simple champ, quite similar to Xin Zhao, but I mean, I like the champion overall. I think Volibear and Zahan, they're pretty horrible, nasty combo to pick up into, so I'm looking forward to seeing what DCU do here. No ban coming out from QUB. We will find out now what that is, or if that is a ban, but we'll be hovering soon, shortly, what they're going to do. It is a Nico ban coming out from QUB, which I like. And what is DCU going to pick now? Have you anything in mind that you think that DCU might pick here for support, maybe mid lane? There he goes.
I think we're definitely leaving mid lane last. I think for a support here, well, we're banning out the Nico. We should probably ban. I think maybe take away the Nautilus, or maybe take the Nautilus for themselves. You know, have a little bit of a threat with that buddy for the Sivir that can just offer up a little bit of move speed as well for that gank potential. But let's see first what they ban here. It's going to be the Rel. So they're banning away a lot of the Wombo combo champions that can offer a lot of AoE CC, and the Seraphine is also getting banned with the Sivir. So I'm thinking that maybe QB have an angle towards this Nautilus. It would be a really good takeaway from DCU. You know, keep the Kai'Sa away from one of her best supports here, and it will just be a smart pickup to help out with the dive potential with this Volibear and with the Zahen.
Completely agree with you. I think the Nautilus go really well here. It goes well with the Volibear, and it also stops Kai'Sa picking it. Now, what does Kai'Sa pick in response now? If she wants something a bit more frontline but engage, she could probably take Leona. And yeah, they're going for a full Enchanter. I did say Sivir probably would want to go for an Enchanter, and they've opted to say, no, we'll let you have your Nautilus or your Leona. I'm going to go Lulu. I actually quite like this, because you saw what happened last game where it did look like Totsi got camped a lot of the time. He got dove, and you can see Kai'Sa just from how aggressive he plays. It's quite dangerous the way that Totsi needs to CS. So I think just thinking, okay, I can drop a wild growth on the Sivir and keep her alive just a little bit longer. And that little bit longer could be vital in some of these fights. So really like what QUB do. But again, repercussions are support gets picked and the Janna gets picked. They're worried about the own disengage angle from Zahan Volibear. So they said, geez, they're kind of worried themselves what's going to happen here. So they take a Janna for a bit of disengage too. I do like this from DCU as well. So that does provide a bit of disengage for the Kai'Sa. And I'm seeing what they round the comp out with. It's going to be mid. preferably AP, and it's going to be the Varus, which means I'm actually not sure. I have my notes here, and in my notes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. The top laner or the mid laner of DCU has 90 games on Varus.
Could be
Top.
Varus mid lane, or it also could be, it could be a Sion mid lane Varus top lane type of situation. Because if it is that, then that Zahen is going to have a really bad time into the Varus. And so right now, everything gets thrown out of the book here. Orianna, a safe pick, something that can lane well into both Varus and Sion. I like the Orianna pick, helps out with the dive as well, also offers a little bit of shielding, a little bit of safety. I'm, for the sweeper's sake, I hope that he is not into Varus, because he is going to have the worst time of his life. He is about to be on the receiving end of what he got, of what he delivered 265 last game.
I think it is Varus top, or at least what I'm seeing, because the only person who seems to play it is the player who's Faker's Dingling, unless they're planning to put it mid, and maybe they role swap Faker's Dingling top. But one of the accounts I found that was registered does have 90 or something games on Varus top lane, so I'll be interested in where that goes. But yeah, I do like the Varus, a lot of utility. Both of these comps, team fight oriented. I do think there's not as much frontline potential on DCU, which is something they really need to be careful. Like, they do obviously have the Wukong Sion, but I just think having a Lulu, having a Zahen, and having the Volibear, it's quite a nasty comp here from QUB. QUB's team fight is just nuts. I think it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, with those ricochets, I mean, Janna can only use so much to heal up everyone. You only got the ultimate, but there are some shields. There is some innate tankiness on DCU side. But yeah, I agree with you. Lulu offering some shielding and some damage to this Voldebear and the Zahen, and then you just have the Sivir ricochets that are just going to be dealing a lot of AoEs. All it's going to take is one good shockwave here in the later stages of the game, and QUB can really take it to DCU, but that remains to be seen once we get into the game. And yeah, we should be getting into game shortly. But before we go on to a little break, we do have to mention that the IECS is sponsored by Red Bull and GamerFest. Shout out to them, our wonderful sponsors. But don't go too far. Grab a Red Bull, and we'll be back with you momentarily.
And we are on the Rift for Game 2 of this Best of 3 series between QUB and DCU for our Nationals semi-finals. Winner goes on to the Grand Finals at GamerFest, sponsored by Red Bull. And I am just so excited to see where this kind of takes off from us. Deadly Ghost, what are you thinking, man?
Well, we're seeing a Sion mid lane, we're seeing a Varus top lane, and we're about to see a lot of action coming in here. And yeah, I think this is going to be a real test for the sweeper in this top lane, looking to survive a brutal early game against a Varus top lane. And if he can get to level 6 and survive, then he will have the kill pressure there. But yeah, that is going to be a tough ask for him.
Gonna be a rough one. I
He's
kind of agree
a
with
really
you.
good player. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. It's going to be a tough one for him. Varus did take exhaust, which is going to make it even harder.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, the sweeper is a good player, like we saw in game 1. Ooh, taking out that ward as well. Nice. But yeah, he is a good player. We already saw in game 1 that he can be a key player for his team. So I'm actually excited to see how he fares in this top lane matchup.
I definitely think it's something to keep track of, and it's going to be the most explosive lane for sure, having a melee into range, because in theory, Varus should just be very, very far ahead in the CS department and potentially have a few kills. But meanwhile, Toadsie getting a bit of damage off there onto Kaisenal. That short range AD carry and the short range Kaisa. It's going to be quite hard when you have Janna Kaisa now versus the last game, because I don't think they're going to get as much focus as top probably will, because I think Echoes, he's probably going to put the priority into the Varus top.
Yeah, both junglers are pathing towards this top lane. Joe Fish a little bit more a little bit more faster on this clear, as -1 for Tootsie did miss that cannon minion, and despite this being a Lulu Sivir, both of these, as we don't have time for that, as a gank is coming in here.
Sweeper getting ganked immediately. I really like this. Don't want Varus to get too far ahead, so we're going to try and give the kill to our top laner. Wukong might go up and give another kill over there. Going to get down by the volley bear. Let's see if Echozy can get out. Nice stun coming through. Joe Fish dropping the lightning, doing a bit of damage back in response. Kaizenal fishing for a bit more damage as Echozy going to get away, but nice trade back and forward there, and especially for QUB.
Yeah, good bait out by Echozy to get out here. Tootsie and Crimson Chaos actually faring much better here, as the heal does come out of both supports there. Both bot laners still have their barriers here, but a little bit better in the health department for Ocht and Kaizenal. But yeah, it looks like Kaizenal and Ocht just having that little bit of extra experience, having that having probably played this matchup a little bit more here, because they seem to be a little bit more comfortable in this 2v2, but definitely a much better start to the lane for Tootsie and Crimson Chaos, and the Sweeper here just sitting in this brush with already a Sheen bot. So yeah, he is off to the races. If he can get another gank like that, if he can put this Varus even further behind, which he could even on his own, now that he has some extra combat power, he is just going to be having the time of his life, especially now that Varus has no summoners and the Sweeper still has both of his TP and his flash.
Definitely think it's a pretty okay position for Sweeper right now. Meanwhile, Faker's Dingling having a little trade back and forward. And speaking of melee into range, you've got Sion into Orianna. That can't be very fun for Sion, but it seems to be going okay for Faker's Dingling.
Yeah, it's so I actually know a little bit about Sion matchups in having played with a mid laner who plays Sion mid lane. Almost all matchups that are not like heavily poke lanes are neutral or winning for the Sion, because once Sion gets a few levels in, once he farms up a little bit more, and once he gets his first back and buys a little bit of magic resist like he just did now, he just survives the lane and doesn't get poked out, and can deal quite a lot of damage. So Faker's Dingling is at that point in the matchup where he is about to start dealing damage here to this Orianna and taking almost nothing in return.
Can we see the Joe squared combo do it again? Have a bit more early game potential. Have a bit of early game impact right now. Because right now, we're only seeing one Joe mid and one Joe bot, when we should be seeing Joe squared. Meanwhile, Joe Fish starting the dragon, does get found on the ward, as you can see. Pings coming out there from DCU. They know what's going on. Kaizen and looking to get the bot prio and maybe rotate upwards onto the volley, but I don't think they're going to get this.
Yeah, we are seeing an invade here from the Wukong, trying to take away the Krugs there, trying to put this Volibear behind. I like the idea, as Tootsie is going to block the Janna W, but then does not get hit by... Then gets hit by the Kai'Sa W, which procs the passive and takes a lot of damage. Faker's Dingling tried to use the ultimate there, but the Sweeper just dashed away from everything. Oh, but is going to pull in here the Varus.
Nice ulti usage there. Do they have enough damage? No, they don't. And Varus picking up the kill. What a play. But a nice start there with the Grim Deliverance. Just not going to be enough from the Zahan.
The change in the Unsealed Spellbook to Exhaust actually saves the Varus there while his summoners were both down. Really great play here, as Tootsie is getting really low.
Well, Tootsie's actually trying to take a Kaizenal. Kaizenal nearly gets taken, which he does in the end. Tootsie picking up the kill. Janna just gets heal off cooldown just there, but in response, what a play from the QUB bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, turns out Kaizenal, when not on the Draven, is actually valuable. He can bleed people. And yeah, does get taken down by Toadsie and Crimson Chaos. Yeah, the Sivir Lulu now having a little bit of extra levels in that shield. They both have a little bit of extra combat power, and yeah, a kill in the 2v2, and they were actually at like a 10 CS deficit, but Toadsie and Crimson Chaos have managed to actually nullify that and turn it into a CS lead themselves. And Kaizenal is still not level 6 yet, so if they want to go for a repeat fight, they can absolutely do that.
Definitely think it's on the cards here, as DCU are positioning themselves very far forward here. They're really just playing it incredibly aggressive again, but they're playing into a sustained lane that can sustain through a lot of their damage output, so it's going to be quite hard for Kaizen Lucht without just poking them out with the Kaisa W's first.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like... Oh, there's some poke coming around here, but it really does come down to how Crimson Chaos and Oct will be using their shields and their poke effectively, because if Crimson Chaos can actually land a few of these pokes, then he can definitely do some more. But there's again coming in here in the top lane, and that flash is completely unnecessary.
Varus using the Chain of Corruption, but unfortunately might not be enough. Yeah, as a nice engage there, as Echozy actually drops the flash into the ulti to try and get them kills back here, and a nice Cyclone onto Joe Fish. Joe Fish trying to get away. Joe Fish down, and Echozy saw the play. 15 million IQ over here from Echozy, doubling over the wall there. Resurrect's going to get used by the Zahin. Can they take him out? I think forgot about the ulti there, but I think they're going to just try anyway. Try and get a kill back onto something here. Can they get someone? No, and Echozy getting himself 2 kills.
Yeah, Choji had that wave pushed. He was really late on the roam timer. I think if he had roamed just a little bit earlier, he would have been able to even save his top laner and use that shockwave effectively. And he is going to use it onto a Cozy. Almost takes him down. Faker Tingling, meanwhile, trying to save his jungler after backing away there, but does manage to... but Joji does manage to take away the Wukong, and Toadsie and Crimson Chaos winning out in this bot lane.
Nice flash usage there from Toadsie, and they're pushing in aggressively. They're looking for the kill onto Kaizenal here, but Kaizenal just about going to stay alive as Faker's Dingling flashing out. Flash and Summoners used all around, and what a play.
Sorry, I kind of took over play-by-play from you. But yeah, in the end, it turns into a winning play for the side of QUB. But yeah, it's another kill in the hands of the sweeper. He does get taken down for his troubles, but he's still surviving here as the Chains of Corruption do get used. And yeah, I mean, he's now in a 20 CS deficit, so it's a little bit worse here. And this Varus having plated steel caps now just means he can tank that little bit of damage that the sweeper has early on, and I think he's going to suffer quite a lot until Trinity Force comes through.
I definitely think that it's going to be rough for DCU for a bit, but I also think QUB can suffer a bit too. Because look at Crimson Chaos right now. Toadsie trying to get away here. Kaizenal has the ulti as well. Can use the Killer Instinct if they want to really push a Towers dive here. Meanwhile, Sweeper dropping a lot of damage down onto the Varus. Varus going to stay alive there. Nice usage of the Shockwave. Oh, just barely managing to stay alive himself. And yeah, overall, just really well played there from the side of DCU. Just trying to make the engage. QUB, just iron defense from them.
Yeah, the good use of the Shockwave, good use of Summoner spells to dissuade everything, but in the end, it is a lot of pressure from DCU, like you said, and we have to know that in this 4v4, if they cannot make it work, they are certainly not going to make it work in the 5v5 once this Varus comes in, because the Sweeper, while he is able to effectively trade, he is not able to effectively farm. And he went from being even on CS in the early game to now being 30 CS behind. Even so, yeah, definitely a bad chance. But
what a play from Varus, though!
Yeah, incredible use of the Chains of Corruption. Zahen, you can always predict where he jumps down, and the Sweeper, after using that ultimate and not landing it, just flashes out and just flashes out, and the sweeper now is going to be put even further behind. And yeah, like you said, an incredible play from this Varus.
Just keeping it alive there. Now, something that is in the sweeper's favour here was the TP advantage, because as I was going to say, of course, Varus can't TP in just yet, but now the quest is completed, Varus can, so it's actually okay right now, and if not, it's a really good position right now for the side of DCU. But yeah, unfortunate usage of the ulti there. I think just with a bit more damage, Varus could have taken out Sweeper. But again, really well played for the side of DCU, and it's just so hard right now for the Sweeper in the top lane.
Yeah, the sweeper coming back a little bit quicker into lane has actually managed to give himself a little bit of safety here. So does mean that he has started to slow down a little bit on that deficit. But oh, we saw the freeze attempt, but that's going to cost him very dearly, as he is going to take a bad trade there.
Chain of Corruption is off cooldown just now as well, so Varus could potentially look for a bit of kill pressure right now. And also, Varus is going AP, so you've got the old AP Varus top. Looks like opting for the Nashor's Tooth first item start, which I do like.
Actually, it's looking more like Dusk and Dawn.
Oh yeah, it could be Dusk and Dawn as well. I keep forgetting that item's in the game. What a strong item.
Yeah, because of the Kindle gem, it's looking really strong. But here's the Volibear.
And a nice way to get out there. Varus trying to get away, dropping the exhaust down on Volley to slow down, slaying the inevitable. They know that Volibear's top. They need to get something for the trolls. They don't pick up the kill. And look at the tower damage. Joe Fish just a little overextending, but what a amount of time wasted. Question is, what do QUB get for their jungler being top lane? They need to get something. They need to force something now they know this Volibear's top lane, because they've put a lot of resources up there. And it doesn't look like Kaizen and Uchter are going to make anything happen.
But the way... It was really smart from Joefish, because they actually saw from the silver ricochets that the Wukong was bot lane, so he knew he had enough power and he had enough safety to actually be there. And now Faker's Dingling is coming in for a gank, so is Ekozi, and well, I think this Zahan is just... Oh, he's not dead, he's actually surviving quite a lot. He needs one more auto attack, but he doesn't get it, and now Joefish is just going to die for his top laner's sins. And I feel like you can't be making these plays unless you have your Orianna also roaming with you, because this Sion may be 30 CS behind, but he has 5 assists.
This is Challenger for a reason, and that reason is not CS.
100% here, and Faker's Dingling just accepted that he's going to get poked out quite a bit, decided to roam a lot, and is just going to create so much pressure here on this top side. And now with the Merc Treads, with that Bomby Cinder as well, he's actually really tanky, and he took down the first turret. And OBK, dare I say it, DCU are slowly starting to take over.
I was just about to say the same thing. I think DCU are looking okay so far. They've got the boots completed. They've got Varus actually not behind really at all. He's not doing too bad. Trinity Force is completed for Sweeper, but Sweeper is not 4 kills up at this stage in the game, so it's already looking a lot more neutral than last time. Gold's actually 2k in favour of DCU, and you can see actually looking at people trying to get a bit of gold in favour. Look at this Volibear positioning for a gank. Varus has no summoners, knows the Chain of Corruption is up, but it doesn't matter. Shockwave gets used, Volley goes in, dropping the ulti of his own, trying to stay alive. Nearly takes the Orianna out for his troubles with him, but just not enough damage there.
Yeah, I mean, Chains of Corruption, you can use them and you can try to do something with them, but once this Volibear dives onto your head, you can really not do anything there. And especially if you're flashless and you don't have your exhaust. I actually think the lane assignments here from DCU are hurting them, because the Sweeper has the Trinity Force completed now, and Faker's Dingling having only magic resist, only after this back getting the chain vest, was actually going to suffer in that Zahan lane. So glad to see they're slowly coming back into their respective lanes, because otherwise it would have been extremely detrimental. But the Drake has now spawned, and contrary to last game, it is now this game it is QUB with those 2 Drakes stacked up. But the Infernal Drake is now up. They're looking for another dive here onto this Varus, but Joefish does not have the ultimate ready, so it's going to have to be a wave pushed in and dive the old, sort of the old-fashioned way.
Well, Oriana's coming up to lend a hand. Shockwave is also available, so if they don't have ulti on the jungler, they do have mid laner ulti, and meanwhile they're actually looking for a dive bot lane to potentially help. Sion's gonna TP top, maybe try and keep Varus alive. Chain of Corruption gets used just a little bit too late on the TP front. Looks like Faker's Dingling trying to hold the wave. Can DCU get something for the troubles? Is the TP gonna come in here? One kill going over. Echozy bit off a bit more than they could chew, and here is the sweeper now. Starting in this fight, Faker's Dingling is top and he can't come bot, so right now it's a really good position for QUB to be in. Ooh. And Uk now trying to get away for dear life, but Tootsie picking up the kill on a killing spree. 3-0-0 right now on the Sivir, and QUB are actually in a pretty alright spot right now.
Crimson Chaos, MVP of that fight, he uses the shield, he uses the polymorph onto Wukong. Echozy can not do anything for 5 seconds there because of the polymorph and the wild growth CC coming through. They cannot dive Tootsie. Yes, they go on to Crimson Chaos later on, and he does die, but he buys enough time for both the Orianna and the Zahen to both TP in, and they also get the kill onto Oct there and shut down Echozy, which is really good for this Sivir to get this big shutdown on the Wukong. And that was what QUB were looking for to get back into this game, because with the Sivir now online with two items, she can just start to take over, and you can slowly start to feel those Sivir ricochets are going to start hurting a lot more and more.
Yeah, 2 items completed, has the boots as well. This is a really great start for Tootsie. Tootsie's in a pretty good position. Kai'Sa's not doing too bad in the CS front, but is missing maybe a third item. As soon as Kai'Sa gets a third item, they could do a bit more. I think they're just in the waiting group for the third item, and I think they'll be just a bit stronger. But overall, though, QUB definitely in a much advantageous spot right now. Dragon up for another 2 minutes 40 seconds, but it looks like they're positioning themselves up for maybe a pick right now. Kai'Sa is hovering around this mid lane. Faker's Dingling gets polymorphed there. Here's Ucht and the rest of the squadron. They're looking for the tower dive. Tootsie gets ignited. Nice knock up there. Doesn't actually get anything though. Sivir spell shield pop that. Joefish, meanwhile, gonna find Echozy, but they're not gonna really look to push it out in the end, and it's just a lot of ultis used for nothing, but maybe not, as the Chain of Corruption lands onto the Orianna, but just not close enough. Couldn't flash the Shockwave. So that's going to be 2 ultis forced, and now they're looking for the tower dive onto this Orianna. Wukong goes in. Nice flash used in response. Joefish going to stop Echozy from doing something. DCU are forcing way too hard right now, it looks like, and I think they just want to make a play happen, but they're not looking mid and not looking top, because you can see the Zahan and see the Sivir slowly taking your tier 2 turrets.
Yeah, Echozy, oh, there's a repeat fight coming in.
Yeah, they're looking for one. They picked up one member. They're looking for Crimson Chaos. Sivir now, maybe trying to stay alive, and Varus does match the Zahan here. And this might actually work out pretty poorly for QUB now if DC want to keep pushing this bot turret.
Yeah, they went to help out the Orianna, and I don't know why Joefish and Crimson Chaos tried to go back in. They were already out of the fight. All they needed to do was just lick their wounds, accepted that bot lane turret was going down. You already had the Sivir taking down one turret and took a few plates on the second one in the mid lane, so it was fine. It was basically an equal trade. Trying to go back in onto Echozy was just greedy in my opinion, and they're really trying to step further than they're allowed to or should step out. And yeah, if QUB do not take a step back and are not more patient with their plays, they're going to give DCU a much bigger advantage here.
Yeah, I think DCU slightly ahead. I'd say they're about even, but you can see how far Varus is still 1 and 5. It's still going to be quite hard for the Varus until they get a couple more items in. But right now, they're slowly building their way back in. We do see Kai'Sa at 200 CS. They're just not that far behind. They are a bit item-wise, but they're not really that far behind Sivir so far in terms of gold, so it's not the end of the world, really. And I think the main playmaker for the DCU side is Echozy, who's just been absolutely popping off so far. A level up right now on Joefish, so they're in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, I mean, as Tootsie gets dived on by Kai'Sa, and he's going to use the ulti, just dives between 2 turrets. Echozy has to flash in to get the kill, but doesn't matter because This Sivir on her lonesome is still squishy. She may deal a lot of damage, but she cannot tank it.
Meanwhile, TP actually comes in from the Zahin and Echo Z, dropping the Cyclone and trying to stop something happening to keep Kai'Sa alive. Keep an eye on Kai'Sa. They're putting all the eggs in the basket. Joe Fish eventually takes him out, and Joe Fish gets put the wild growth as well, so Joe Fish is still alive. Sweeper now trying to force onto Ucht and the remaining members of QUB, but here's the second carry as Varus now enters the fight. 2 kills already gone. You can see Totzi's up in a second as well, and overall it was I guess a 2 for 2 or a 1 for 1 really in favor of no one. But it was overall it was a nice try there from DCU, and DCU are going to try and convert this into the Infernal Drake.
In the end, it was 2 for 1 for DCU, and they get the second Drake of their game. So basically equal on Drakes. Equal on kills, equal in gold. It's an equal game, and OBK, I'm sorry to say, but I think we're headed for another 40 minutes longer.
Maybe another 20 minutes. I give this game another 20 minutes before we reach an end. I think there got to be 2 Barons, there's got to be at least 4 team fights, and there's got to be at least 4 rage quits before we get to the end of this Nexus. But I think at the moment it's looking okay. Both teams are scaling up. I do think, again, everyone's thinking, let's just go scaling champ. The last game was 40 minutes. This game more than likely is going to go same. So let's make sure we have the better champion at 40 minutes. So I kind of like this from both teams. Sivir scales really well, Zahan scales well, Orianna scales well, but then Kai'Sa scales well, Varus scales well, and Sion scales okay. So it's kind of regardless going to be pretty an interesting fight. But again, I just think QUB's comp might just be slightly better later.
Technically, Sion scales infinitely, so the longer this game goes on, the stronger that Sion is going to become. But I think the real threat here is Ekozi, and whether he's going to be able to get onto this Sivir, because if the Sivir gets taken down and is basically alone, she's going to have a really bad time, as Joefish decided to stun the ward instead of Faker's Dingling. I mean, I would be scared of Faker as well, but that's no reason for you not to stun a Sion.
I think the thing with QUB is they've been playing really well in the early game and in the 1v1, the 1v2 fights, but I think they're quite scared in these 4 and 5v5 situations. I really think they need to pull the trigger a bit more and have a bit more confidence in what they're doing, because it seems like a lot of the times they're kind of half making a play where they like half commit to something and think that's going to carry them across the line, and those kinds of situations, that's where they pick up 1 kill, but then DCU fully commit to a fight and pick up 2 more. And I think they really need to fully commit to these plays and have a little more faith in themselves.
Yeah, 100%. I think QUB have been playing much better in the skirmishes, but the team fights have been DCU's playground, and I think the target selection for DCU has been really great, and they're also really good at finding these key points and key angles into a fight. I mean, game 1 was literally decided by Sweeper's bad pathing into that last team fight, which just gave them 1 kill and then snowballed into a 1 team fight into a 1 game. But yeah, I think QUB really need to step up in the team fights, because otherwise we're kind of looking at DCU taking over. Because when we saw that early lead come through, it was through those early skirmishes and the 2v2 kills for Toti and Crimson Chaos. So I think they really need to find a pick, or maybe have the sweeper actually take down someone in a 1v1 in the side lane, or maybe team up with Joefish and create some pressure like that, because otherwise, yeah, it's looking like they're going to be in dire straits.
I think you're right. I definitely think it's going to be pretty unfortunate for DCU if they do lose this, because I think DCU have been playing really well early on, and I definitely think they've played really good in game 1, so if they can see their momentum into game 2, in this game would be really good as well. But speaking of the momentum, they've just gone into Joe Fish here. Joe Fish running away, but a 3-man Cyclone into the wild growth onto the Sivir. Keep an eye on Totsi, because Kai'Sa just Killer Instinct into the back to try and take out 1. Kai'Sa still alive, and actually changed path selection, was going on to the jungler, but decided to just go and auto attack that Sivir to take him out. Here's the sweeper. Can they take out Kai'Sa? Kai'Sa again untouched in this. Orianna trying to take him out with the ball, but MVP of that going to go over to that Kai'Sa, because what a start to that fight there. Well played, and just opportunistic fights from DCU. Right place, right time.
Yeah, I mean, Cozy and Kai'Sa catching out Joefish there the ult from Crimson Chaos getting used onto Tilty. I think it probably should have gone onto Joefish to knock out both the Kai'Sa and the Wukong and maybe give them some leeway like that, but it just means that this Baron is going to go down. The Sweeper and Joji are going to take down a turret in the mid lane. Baker's Dingling has to flash to just survive, but yeah, 3 kills and the Baron coming through for DCU, and QUB can only lick their wounds and get a turret in response. But that right there was a key indicator of how the series has been going. DCU get a team fight or catch someone and they just win the team fight. Joji and the Sweeper were really late to that team fight. They haven't really gotten to play a full-on 5v5.
Definitely think QUB, though, have a shining light here. 3 items completed on the Sivir. Oriana's 302 as well, nearly has her 3rd item completed, so it's not all at a loss. It's only a 2k goal lead at the end of it all as well, but it's just, again, these kills going over. Look at Kai'Sa now. The person to watch out in this team gets stunned right now. Joe Fish is just taking an insane amount of damage from this Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa will force the ulti, get the shield off the Killer Instinct. Keep an eye. Zahin now wanting to take out the Kai'Sa. Not going to be enough. Kai'Sa pushing forward. No ulti needed. Flash in. Triple kill. Looking for the quadra kill. Can Kai'Sa do it? Pushing aggressively for this. And DCU win another fight. But what a W. Quadra kill for Kai'Sa. Can they make it? The Penta.
Oh, maybe they cannot, but still, DCU are taking the fight to QUB and they are winning it. This comp that is supposed to be scaling much better from QUB is not able to survive the onslaught that this Kai'Sa is doing, and Joji is just looking to see how much damage is done to his base here because he gets taken. The inhibitor gets taken down. 4 kills for this Kai'Sa in this team fight, and yeah, Soul Point being taken there by Ekozi. 3 Infernal Drakes on the verge of taking a 4th one, and I said we might have another 40-minute game, but DCU are determined on proving me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, DCU just making sure they're letting the business. Even after they took that inhibitor turret, they did push Faker's Dingling top, did take the 2-2 turret, and now are looking for the Sweeper. Here's 2 members. Look at Varus now has 2 items completed, has the Riftmaker on top of that. So AP Varus still doing bits, has a bit more HP as well to get that Omnivamp as well. So it's actually not bad at all, really, for the side of DCU. They've got the Baron pair of minions. They're looking to take this tier 2. Volibear not in the fight just yet. TP is available for Oriana, but it doesn't look like they want to use it. Scion goes in. Really big play. Killer Instinct from Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa still gets through it. Gets through another one. Look at this Kai'Sa putting the team on the back now. And in the elite that was built by Ekozi, Kai'Sa takes advantage of, and now this Kai'Sa is just dominating the game so far. 4 items completed, by the way. Absolute mad lad. Had the Dusk and Dawn as well, which is insanely good as well on this Kai'Sa to proc those W passives. And yeah, look at the side of DCU. They have scaled. You talk 40 minutes, more like 30. That is going to be the game. DCU are going to be your ICS national semi-finalists for 2026. What a play there from DCU.
Yeah, 100% incredible gameplay from DCU. Some incredible team fighting on their end. Kai'Sa in both games. Game 1 on this Draven, Game 2 on this Kai'Sa. Just incredible. Popping off in these team fights quite a lot. Ekozi, both in games 1 and 2, found some key ganks onto Toadsie. I think the laning phase went really well for QUB's side, but I think DCU in the team fights had QUB's number, especially as the game progressed later and later. DCU just seemed more and more comfortable, and yeah, congratulations on a hard-fought 2-0 to them. They are moving on into the finals.
Yeah, team going through are DCU. I'm unaware if the other semi-final is currently going or did it just finish there, but we should probably find out who they're playing in the grand finals. But they are going to be making it to the Gamerfest grand finals. Well played, DCU, and I mean, over and really well done. it was a bit neck and neck early game there between that QUB in that game too. But overall, I just think they played it really well. They held together strong, and again, they just capitalized on the fact that QUB just had one or two members who overextended, and as soon as they did that, they gave them an inch, and then they just took a mile. They pushed it into barns, they turned it into turrets, and eventually they just took one really good fight and just kept pushing. But props to QUB, they played a really good series. That first game was really on the edge of your seat stuff, and I really think they had
Yeah.
some really good opportunities in there from them. So it's definitely some good stuff to take on to the next split. But it looks like DCU are going to be your national finalists. Deadly Ghosts. Any parting remarks?
I mean, all I can say is I really enjoyed watching the team fighting from DCU's end. I think with team fighting like this, they can for sure take the fight even in the finals. And I'm looking forward to watching that finals because know it's going to be amazing. And I'm looking forward to see if Kaizenal can pop off in the finals like he did in these two games. And I also wanted to point out something that Faker's Dingling really did well into that last team fight. We saw Totsi try to spell shield the Scion ultimate knockup, but Faker's Dingling actually had the W activated, so he used the W to proc the Sivir spell shield and then just use the knockup, which allowed Kaizenal to come into that last team fight and get the team fight win. So props to him as well. Props to that presence of mind there to just be able to utilize Science Kit so effectively.
Yeah, I think perfectly put there. I think that was a great fight all around. Great teams, well played DCU and well played QUB. But DCU at the end of it all are going to be our finalists, and I've just gotten some word to my ears. Beep 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 beep. It is UCD they will be playing in the grand final at Gamerfest. So you're looking at the DCU UCD Clash of Dublin finals at Gamerfest right there. So that's going to be interesting for anyone tuning in. So hope to see everyone there at Gamerfest. I won't be there myself, but hopefully people will really enjoy it. But yeah, I think that's going to be it from us today. Thank our sponsors Gamerfest and Red Bull. Please come down to the Gamerfest, guys. You're going to see some serious action in the grand final series where UCD I believe this is their first LAN final. They've won it, but they won it when we did it online. So I think this is going to be the first time UCD are playing at a LAN for the final, unless someone would like to correct me in chat. I'm not too sure myself. But yeah, from all of us here, that was a great semi-final. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I've been OBK9. Any final remarks, Deadly Ghost?
Just thank you to everyone for watching. Hope we get to see. Hope you go down to Gamerfest like you said, and yeah, looking forward to watching the finals between these two incredible teams.
All of us here, we're just gonna say thanks for tuning in, lads. Hopefully see you at Gamerfest. Good night.